Since you are the world's reserve currency bearer and everyone's safe haven, wealthy people from all over the world want to invest in the United States. Since it's safe because we follow a procedure, if you start taking people's just because you don't like them, then the rest of the world's pretend that you are not whom I believed you to be. Furthermore, I wish to cease my financial outlays. Instead, I want to organize a sizable international coalition of discordant nations, and we'll handle things on our own. BRICS, which today account for the majority of the world's power. It's as though we just finished, since that's a fact. The Biden administration's actions in February 2022 will have an impact on you that your grandkids will have to cope with. I don't even think most Americans are aware of this. American dominance in a number of various areas either started the process of eliminating it, or I think there can be two currencies used as the world reserve. I do mean to exist simultaneously, and I believe it is possible. The idea that the dollar will eventually become the reserve currency for much of the world seems very plausible to me. And I believe that many locations are open to trying something new. Else, and you are aware of one of my situations, I stop thinking. It won't work out, in my opinion. Swiftly, but similar to one of my bizarre cases. Examples of a digital asset's success are if nations begin to recognize that the US dollar will no longer serve as a reserve currency indefinitely, alternative assets will serve as the reserve currency. This is similar to what we observed with banks. For example, when we first began selling software to banks, people would ask us, "You know why a bank would use something that you guys were selling them?" When they could have used something similar to what banks had created. However, they were unaware that there are only about 10 banks in the nation worldwide, are similar to the ones who would create a system that the entire world would rely on for the other institutions, Deutsche Bank, HSBC, Credit Suisse, and JP Morgan Chase. 6,000 smaller banks make up that number, and those are their main rivals. They despise those kinds of things. Since they are the biggest and most powerful, the majority would prefer not to use the system that they created and managed, since it would be slanted in their favor. The same thing, in my opinion, could happen to other countries. While every country would love for its currency to be the world's reserve currency, which has helped the U.S. grow its economy unfairly by leaps and bounds for decades, other countries might say, "Yeah, we'd like to have the world's reserve currency," but realistically, most know that if there is going to be a new world reserve currency, it won't be them. They might even prefer a currency that is under the control of their biggest geopolitical rivals. What I believe is the greatest likelihood of success for digital assets that you should be aware of. Even if the US dollar won't last forever, these nations won't use it as their official currency, since nobody will wish to replicate the US dollar. It's true that nobody but the EU wants the EU to take the place of the US dollar. True, only Russia desires the ruble. Nobody but China wants you to know who should take the dollar's place. The dollar, so perhaps they could agree on a medium of exchange that would remain uncontrollable, instead of one under the authority of their most potent geopolitical adversary. Thus, that is the scenario that I believe has the most chance of success. However, the real money question is, how do you get everyone to agree? I mean, they might agree if their geopolitical rivals forced them to accept a new currency in place of the dollar. That's not the case, it's just that the previous boss was replaced. If the option is to work with a new boss, people become wealthy if they manage to make a significant amount of cryptocurrency. That doesn't seem good to me. They will see that as really too much of a negative. Once upon a time, the Ripple-created digital currency, which started out as a promising technology, emerged from the shadows to become a global powerhouse in 2025, causing a seismic shift in the finance sector. Transformed into a revolution in finance. It started with a number of strategic alliances that Ripple established with significant financial institutions and banks. As a result of these partnerships, XRP gained recognition on a global scale and became the go-to digital asset for cross-border transactions. As more and more financial institutions began to use XRP, its speed and affordability quickly made it an appealing substitute for conventional banking systems. Value increased a mainstay of international trade. Digital currencies allow companies to transact with previously unheard of technological efficiency. The Ripple Net, which reduced transaction speeds to mere seconds and did away with the need for middlemen banks, was the driving force behind XRP's success. Governments began incorporating XRP into their financial systems after seeing its potential to boost economic growth. A number of nations include XRP in their official currency reserves. Confirming its position as a global financial instrument, the financial landscape changed into a hybrid of traditional and digital systems with XRP, forcing financial institutions that had previously resisted the rise of digital currencies to adapt or risk becoming obsolete. As XRP reached new heights, its influence on traditional banking systems was evident. The world had entered a new phase of financial prosperity and inclusivity, and XRP stood as a testament to the ability of innovation to transform the world economy. XRP's success went beyond just a tale of a virtual currency. I really want to give some examples of how visionary organizations have been able to generate positive change on a global scale in the early phases of this technology, and it is a tribute to the revolutionary potential of blockchain technology. Since the invention of radio, it has typically taken humans 25 to 30 years to adopt new data transfer technologies. Email was created in the 1950s, but it wasn't commercially available until the 1920s. TV was established in the 1920s, but it wasn't in households until then. 1969, but the majority of you probably didn't have email addresses until 1997. One in particular is something I truly want to concentrate on. TCP/IP, or the Internet, for those who are unaware, was first developed as a DARPA experiment in 1970. However, it wasn't widely adopted on a commercial scale until 1995, when Windows 95 was released. Another significant date is 1983, when TCP/IP was approved as the industry standard. Protocol for Internet development years after it was established, and it's only now, 13 years after the creation of Bitcoin, that we're beginning to discuss standardization. At this point, the adoption of Bitcoin is not a coincidence, rather, it is a result of human conditioning. For example, a 13-year-old in the United States has only ever lived in a world where the cryptocurrency has been around for 3 years. And a 16-year-old will only have lived in a world where the cryptocurrency has been around for 16 years and is significant. Date, as that's typically when someone expresses interest in becoming a developer. In other words, they represent the adoption layer. As the infrastructure layer in this room, it is our duty to establish a framework that allows every 13-year-old American to construct the next world. Thank you. And I look forward to answering any questions you may have. Hey folks, how are you? Please remember to like and subscribe if you liked the video. Your support will greatly benefit this channel. I also now do live streams on this channel, so be sure to check those out as well. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and enable notifications. I sincerely hope you all liked the video.